Okay, here we go. Nick, do you not like Super Mario Sunshine?
I mean,
Bro?
it's good.
Bro.
It's probably one of the better.
One of the best.
Marios.
Sunshine and Galaxy are my two favorite.
Mario 6.
Generally, nowadays.
I mean, not even that. Like,
I mean, like...
some of the stuff they're trying to incorporate isn't that great, but, I mean, at least they're trying.
I just hate all the rehashing.
Okay, but, like...
I mean, that doesn't give it... That's not an
give them a
excuse.
reward
I'm just
for,
saying that...
like, oh, you tried. It's like the Little League trophy where everyone gets...
Well, no. I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I'm just saying that...
I mean, all of it is just rehashing now. Like, Mario 3D World, everyone loves that game, but it's just rehashing of, like, Mario 3D Land, and then which was rehashing
Well,
of, like,
Land and World are supposed to be the same thing, but World is like the Wii
just
U.
because they're supposed to be the same thing, and just because it's on a different console doesn't mean shit. They did that for New Super Mario Bros. DS, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They added a little bit of new things, but it was still rehashing and bullshit. And then
it's a release on handheld and that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a new game.
If that's what it's supposed to be, it still sucks.
It's not supposed to be a new game.
Again,
there hasn't been a new line Mario game, in my opinion. We've had this conversation, Mason, since Galaxy 2. And that's bad.
No, that's true. I can agree with you there.
There's just been a bunch of, like, rehashes.
You don't agree with that?
No.
Apparently, Mario 3D
like
World...
the next mainline one, because, I mean, all of the games go across the consoles. Every, like, new iteration of Mario, whatever the fuck it may be. Whether it be from 3 to World or whatever.
See, I just consider it a branch. Like, there's the branch of RPG games. Like, there's Super Mario RPG. And then Mario and Luigi, I think, is the successor to that.
Those are fun.
And then there's Paper Mario. And then there's a branch of the retro ones. The ones where they're cashing in on, like, the old Mario. Like, all of the new Super Mario Brothers, the... Mario 3Ds, Maker. All those ones.
Mario Maker also, I think. Branch. I consider Mario Maker in that line, too.
Mario Maker's...
It's just like its own thing.
I don't even... Really
it's like not even a path, it just like is there.
It's just,
off to the side.
I mean, it fell off. It's just like, whatever. But like, there hasn't been real... But my biggest point is, like, there was Mario 3D World, and people like that one or whatever. But then they had a character in it, like Explorer Toad or whatever. Captain Toad, and then they gave him his own freaking game.
Yeah, Captain Toad's Treasure...
That's fucking stupid.
I have no problem with that. It's a spin-off game. You don't have to buy it.
It's a spin-off game whenever they're just like... It feels like everything they've made since Mario 2 has just been cheap and cash-ins. And Galaxy 2 even felt like a cash-in again because it was just it was a direct sequel to a game that was just okay. I don't know. I think they added Yoshi.
That was pretty much the only thing that I saw that was really different.
Yeah, it was like they added Yoshi and they're like, and I'm like, no, it's fucking stupid, and it doesn't control well in that.
Did they incorporate it well?
Space Yoshi.
Not regardless of whether it controls well or not. Did they at least try and make stuff around the Yoshi introduction?
Well, that's the problem.
They did, didn't they? They had the
I didn't play
ringy thingies.
Well, no,
Galaxy 2, so
that's the problem. Is like now any thing they make with Mario levels, they incorporate it around a specific item, and that's not how they used to do it. Like old Mario levels used to be like there was a level and there would be power-ups, and if you got the power-ups, it's fine.
So you want it to go back to old Mario, but you don't want it to be a cash-in of old Mario.
No, I want it to be original. I wanted new content. I don't want rehashes.
That's the point of them making stuff around levels. Or making stuff around power-ups. 3D World is based around the cat thing.
No, but that just makes it cheap.
Yeah, that makes it really one-sided and cheap.
It's like they make a level around the cat suit. And you know it's about the cat suit because they keep giving it to you. They give it to you over and over and over to make sure you get through that level.
Also, that game has, like, the worst, like, bullshit fucking thing in the world, which is, like, oh, you die 3 times. Here's an invincibility thing because, you know.
Yeah, I don't like that.
New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. So there's 3 new Super Mario Brothers, which is fucking stupid. Yeah. But in the U version, Luigi would come in and be like, want me to show you how to fucking do this level?
Oh, yeah, there was, like, the ghost thing.
He falls down a pit.
Like, it's... I fucking hate it. It's disgusting.
The hand-holding is fucking...
I
way
don't
too
like
much.
that.
And like word for word in an interview with like I think it was Miyamoto and like one of his like partners or whatever, where they were like, we wanted to incorporate in Mario Maker the old game styles for the aesthetics that you're making the level for.
Sure.
But we couldn't do that because it would make people who were playing it not like uncomfortable. It would make them. It would be too different. Like they're like, the new play style is what we want for new players because the old ones suck or whatever. And I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Well, something that I like about Mario games is that they at least treat Mario games like you could play any Mario game and it be your first Mario game and it still be fun. I think.
Any Mario game,
Any Mario game other than like Mario's Missing or whatever.
Super Mario Land.
Anything in the main three lines of Mario games that we just established, the Paper Mario, the RPGs, the Paper Mario,
I said Super Mario Land for its time is good.
Yeah.
the Paper Mario games, the Mario RPG games, and the main line. I feel like you could play any game in that series, in any of those series, and enjoy yourself. If it's your first Mario game, I feel like any of them could be a good introduction to the Mario line. Because I feel like they all incorporate
there's
enough
four.
from the... What?
There's 4. The Paper Mario RPG, mainline, and spin-off, or rehashes. Call them that.
They're still in the main Mario
No,
line.
I don't consider them the mainline at all.
Whatever. Well, the thing is, if it's your first Mario game, then it's not a rehash. If it's
But
your first
no.
Mario game, to you it's not a rehash
it's
because you played it first.
No, regardless of which, how many of them you've played, it's still a rehash.
On a timeline, it's a rehash. That's his point.
Yeah, like it's not a
Regardless of
rehash
the-
to you.
Regardless of the experience, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be a rehash no matter what.
Okay. Well, I feel like regardless, any game you play in those 4 timelines is still enjoyable if it's your first Mario game. I
Mario
think
64.
if it's your first Mario game.
I feel like if it's your first Mario game, then that'll turn you off to
Mario
Mario
64
games.
was my first Mario game, and I fucking loved it. Again, like
When you were a kid.
yes,
Yeah.
again,
But
but,
again,
at the same time, like people dog on that fucking game all the goddamn time, and it's people seem to fucking forget that when that game came out, it was fucking revolutionary.
Well,
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, exactly. Sure, the game is not aged well, but like it's literally the first fucking game to do
For its time.
3D environment like movement decently.
Yeah.
To even like get it even close to like not necessarily realistic, but like playable for the fucking time.
Well, yeah, but like I just don't like the way it controls, and it makes the experience bad for me.
Well, sure, but at the same time, to say the game is fucking shit because of that doesn't.
Well, no,
fucking
that
bode
was my
well.
point though. Was like for the first time you've ever played a Mario game, to play that game where the controls aren't really that great, would probably sour someone to it. Like nowadays,
But the thing is,
Yeah, but
kids
why
that are
the fuck
getting
would-
introduced to Mario are kids. They're not going to have access to Mario 64 first. A very small majority are going to have access to Mario 64 first,
Yeah.
or a very small amount are going to have access
well,
to Mario
that
64
wasn't your point. Your point was any game. I'm not. I
I'm saying
understand that is a valid point. I'm just saying, based on your point of any game, you give any Mario game to anyone who has never played a Mario game.
You gotta,
period.
Nick, you gotta think realistically here. How many adults do you know that don't know about Mario?
I'm not saying they don't know about Mario, but it's
It's
probably
hypothetical.
it's probably a good percentage that haven't played it. A decent percentage, just not microscopic.
But no matter what, everybody knows what a Mario game is. Everybody, because even if you haven't played it, you know what it is. A kid that has never played it and is growing up and is handed a Mario game, I think that they are going to play a newer Mario game. You would think that their parents would get them a newer Mario game.
Yeah, and that's sad to me.
But I'm saying regardless, I think that they're going to have a good time. That's what I think Nintendo's focused on. I think they're still focused on the fact that they just want to make their games fun.
Well,
Yes, but at the same time, like
at the loss of a good game.
yeah, in the long run, when it comes down to either making the game fun, quote unquote, because fun is subjective, or being innovative in some sense, because Nintendo is also fucking obsessed with trying to innovate things, not
Yeah.
necessarily through their gameplay, but through more so hardware.
Yeah.
Regardless. Ugh.
But like,
Sorry, I lost my train of thought too. So
well, that's the thing is like the old Mario games when like they were difficult and they're difficult now, but that doesn't make them not fun. They're fun because they're a challenge. The new ones aren't fun because there is no challenge there, or it's an artificial challenge that they then make arbitrarily per level.
I agree.
Yeah. I can agree to that. I still have a good time playing any Mario game.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, part of that has to be from just I'm wearing like the rose glasses, like the nostalgia goggles, just because like I grew up with Mario. Like it's just
like which
so
Mario
fun.
did you grow up with?
I grew up with Sunshine. That was my first Mario game. I played Sunshine first, and then I got to play Mario Bros. Because I was friends with Jonathan Baker, and that was about a year before I left.
Mario Bros. What? Which one?
Super Mario Brothers for NES.
Okay.
I
Because
played-
Mario Brothers isn't that.
But I played no, I know Mario Brothers is the original like pipe coming out. I actually played that too as a kid. That was fun. But I played that after I played a couple of the Mario games. But I played Sunshine first. That was my first Mario game, and that was essentially Mario 64, but different setting, better controls, and FLUDD. But the Mario, the floodless levels that you hate so much, that's basically Mario 64, but with refined controls. That's all that is. That's it. And that's what I grew up with. That was my first Mario game. That's the game that I enjoyed. That's one of my favorite Mario games, but not just because I grew up with it. Like there's so much about that game it's beautiful, it sounds great, it's an actual challenge. They incorporate FLUDD beautifully. It's great. And then they teach you more about the acrobatics in the floodless levels, so that way when you do have FLUDD, you can incorporate it better into the acrobatics that you're already doing.
Do they teach you stuff? Because I remember them just blindly throwing you into the shit and just pretty much telling you, hey, good luck, motherfucker, get to the end.
Well, that is teaching you. The good way of teaching you.
Well, sure, but at the same time, like, when you say, like, teaching, I assume, like, you meant, like, teaching you about, like, different maneuvers and shit that you can do.
They teach you...
Well, they never come out and say it, but through experimentation in those levels, you learn that stuff. There are parts of those levels that are safe to experiment in.
Yeah.
And then the later levels, they become less and less safe. The later secret levels become way less safe. But the first one that you get in... if you are going to that game blind, the first secret level you will come across is the one in Bianco Hills. It's the lake secret. The lake cave
You can't even
secret.
guarantee that.
If you're playing the game like people that... If you go through it like a person that hasn't played a Mario game before, and you're playing through it, and you're doing what the game's telling you. You go through and you say, okay, this world is the only world that I know how to get to right now. You go back into it until you reach the lake secret, whatever. That one has a lot of room for you to experiment.
Not really, because Bianco Hills is first.
Yes.
You do the first shine, and it immediately unlocks the Rico Harbor. And then you can go to that level, too. So, then there are now two floodless levels that are potentially available to you.
That are both safe. Both of those secret levels are safe enough for you to experiment with your controls. Because it plops you into this world and that takes away FLUDD. You've been relying on FLUDD thus far, which means that when it plops you into this, you immediately start going like, okay, I don't have FLUDD. What does that mean? What can I do? You start experimenting with your move set. And then you learn this stuff. But then when you get FLUDD back, it means that you can use that stuff to incorporate FLUDD into. So, like, you can do the side jump or the triple jump or the backflip that I use that all the time. Well, I guess it is the side jump, but whatever. You use that stuff, and then you can say, oh, okay, this gets me this much height, and then I can add FLUDD in, and then get way more height. So you can't really hate on those levels, because they help the player enhance their own experience.
But there's also levels that do the same thing, but with FLUDD.
Yes.
Also, you could experiment yourself. Just go into an open area and fuck around with the controls for a little bit, figure it out, and then go on
Open
your way.
area, meaning like the main world.
Yeah, Delfino Plaza.
The plaza, yeah.
So I mean, like those levels are not in particular in their own for teaching. Like you don't. I don't know. I feel like that opinion on it is like kind of.
I feel like it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like the average player wouldn't. I feel like the average player wouldn't take the time to experiment through all that stuff because it teaches you to rely on FLUDD throughout the first couple levels. That's what it does.
But what's different? That when FLUDD is taken away, then you're willing to experiment.
Yeah.
What makes it so that you will not just try and finish the level? Because that's what I did. Yeah. I don't actively try and experiment because FLUDD is taken away from me. I just try to get through the level. I know that FLUDD is gone. I don't give a shit.
Well, the thing is, you can't get through some of especially the later secret levels, without having previously experimented.
On what though?
What do you mean on what?
Like, what do you gain that you need to complete the game with?
You need to learn how to wall jump and how to get up to certain ropes. There are certain ropes that are out of your reach that you can't get to unless you've previously experimented with the controls.
Rico Harbor does the same thing, dude.
Okay.
So you don't... So that point is moot. The floodless levels teaches you about the controls in a way that FLUDD... In a way that the game didn't teach you with FLUDD, and that you can use then with FLUDD later to enhance your overall gaming experience. That is a moot point.
Well, but it teaches you a reliance on FLUDD so heavily that... Because you use FLUDD all the time in every level.
Yeah.
But there are some places that you can't get to without experimenting. I'm saying that those levels kind of act as a self-tutorial. Because you get to teach yourself that stuff in those levels.
I feel like the areas in which that you're talking about where you have to know those different techniques to get to are far more like crucial to the learning than the bonus levels.
Yeah,
I feel like you being faced with the challenge of, okay, well, I tried jumping multiple times, I can't get up there. I've tried wall jumping off of this thing and I can't get up there, so I don't know what to do. Let me experiment around. Like that, I think, is far more...
Like, I feel like it's the exact opposite point. That you need to experiment around with FLUDD in the safer environments, the far safer environments, because you can't fall to your death all the time.
That's true.
So that when you get to those levels without FLUDD, you need to have known how to do these things. And they challenge you, they test you, basically. Do you know how to play this game, actually? I don't think it's the way you're thinking. I think it's the other way around.
Oh, God.
Oop, got him. Got him. Fucking got him. That face said it all.